Alright folks, let's talk about this absolute little legend right here, the GKD Pixel 2. Now most of us are going to gravitate towards this handheld because, let's be real, it's teeny tiny and downright adorable. You can literally carry it everywhere, and it's literally like reliving your childhood gaming days all over again, all the way up to the PS1 era. And yeah, it's so small that it easily slips into your pocket, perfect for travelers and those that commute to school or work. Plus, it's built like a tank, so if you accidentally sit on it like I did twice, it's going to survive just fine. Now, a quick history lesson. Yes, this is the Pixel 2, so naturally there was a Pixel 1 before it. But to be honest, the first one was, well, kinda dead. Tiny screen, low resolution, a D-pad that clicked so loud it would wake up your grandma from her nap, and an operating system that was blander than hospital food. But the good news is, the Pixel 2 has had a serious glow up. So before we dive into the juicy specs and what makes this handheld so darn fun, let's start with the unboxing. Oh yeah, just so you know, this review unit was sent to me by the awesome folks at Mech DIY, massive thanks to them. I've been playing around with it for about 2 months now, so I've got a pretty good idea of what's awesome and what still needs a bit of love. Links to grab one for yourself are in the description below. Alright, let's crack this thing open. Alright, so here's what you're getting. The GKD Pixel 2 comes packed in this ridiculously tiny box. Seriously, it's so small, it makes my hand look like it's about to crush it. It's super portable and screams, just throw me in your pocket. Build quality? Oh, it's premium baby. We're talking metal shell with some seriously satisfying chiseled edges. Not only does it look retro cool, but it also feels tough enough to handle your butter fingers. I'm rocking the grey version here, but if that's not your style, you've got red, purple, green and yellow to choose from. Alright, enough drooling, let's get nerdy with the specs. The Pixel 2 is rocking a Rockchip RK3326S chip, which is fancy talk for a 1.5 GHz quad-core processor. This means that you can play your games and run emulators smoothly without your handheld turning into a potato. Screen-wise, it's a 2.4-inch 640 by 480 IPS 4 lamination display. It's bright, it's crisp, and ready to bring those pixelated memories back to life. Under the hood, you've got a 1 GB of RAM and a micro SD card slot. It comes with a 64 GB memory card out of the box, but if you're a digital hoarder, it can handle bigger sizes too. Battery? Oh yeah, it's packing a 1800 mAh cell. As for size, it's 62 by 81 by 17 millimeters and weighs around 115 grams. So you can literally toss it into your pocket and forget it's even there until you're stuck in the restroom. Oh, and for all the software geeks out there, it's running the IUX 2.5/RockNix interface. We'll talk more about that later on. Alright, let's zoom into this cutie and talk about the design. Up front, we've got the D-pad and face buttons. They're using this soft, squishy rubber membrane that's actually pretty quiet when you're mashing away. The D-pad itself is super responsive, no accidental diagonals here. Even in the heat of some intense fighting games, the start and select buttons though, they're a bit more stubborn, stiffier, and clicky as heck. Down at the bottom, you'll find the USB-C charging port, the headphone jack, and the speaker, all the essentials in one place. Over on the right side is the handy functions button, a power button, and an LED light to tell you if you're about to run out of juice. On the left, you've got the volume rocker and the micro SD card slot. Up top, you'll see the L1, L2, R1 and R2 triggers, or buttons, whatever you want to call them. Well, they are on the small side. If you've got sausage fingers, you might be accidentally pressing stuff you didn't mean to, but honestly, you won't use these buttons as much unless you're emulating PSP or PS1 games. On the back, there's a subtle Pixel logo with some ribbed texture for that premium grip, plus a tiny lanyard hole if you're feeling extra and want to wear this as a necklace. I mentioned this before, but it's worth repeating, build quality here is top notch. It feels like it could survive numerous drops. That said, the Pixel 2 is adorable and compact, but it might not be for everyone. If you've got big hands, you might find yourself squinting or feeling a bit cramped. In that case, you might want to look at the Trimmer brick, which I've also reviewed on the channel. It's small but more hand-friendly. For reference, it's even smaller than the OG Game Boy Color. Speaking of small things, let's talk about the screen. Sure, it's tiny, but it's actually impressive. It's bright and colorful with a crisp 640 by 480 resolution, so don't let the size fool you. Out of the box, the Pixel 2 is running the IUX system, and honestly, it looks a little ancient. But the good news is you can swap over to the ES launcher in the settings, which gives it a cleaner, more retro-inspired look. Once you've done that, you won't need to mess with it again every time you turn on the device, so it's literally smooth sailing from here. Alright, that's the design and feature breakdown. So let's talk about what you can actually play on this little powerhouse. The Pixel 2 supports a bunch of different systems, some I've never even heard of. Once you pick your system, you'll see the game list on the left and a thumbnail image on the right, which is pretty neat. If you purchase a bigger memory card from Mech DIY, you'll have more pre-installed ROMs, and of course, you can always add your own later on. Most systems play super smoothly. PS1, no sweat. I tested out Metal Gear Solid, and honestly, I was mind blown that such a tiny device could handle it so well. Some of the heavier hitters like the N64, the Dreamcast, and the PSP can be a bit of a hit or miss, but when they work, they're surprisingly good. One little note for N64 fans, you'll have to remap the Z button to the back buttons on the Pixel 2, but hey, that's what makes retro gaming an adventure, right? But let's be real, nothing's perfect. The biggest letdown here is that there's no analog stick. So while the D-pad is awesome for most games, especially as classic fighters, it can't fully replicate the experience on systems like the PS1, the PSP or N64. And yeah, that screen, as good as it is tiny. Some games, especially on higher end systems, can be a real strain on old folks like myself. Nintendo DS games, forget about it. Dual screens on this little guy just doesn't work out. Plus, if you've got big hands, you might find it tricky to hold and reach those back buttons without accidentally pressing everything at once. So yeah, the size is both a blessing and a bit of a curse. So who's the Pixel 2 really for? In my opinion, it's perfect for those who want to relive the glory days. It's also a killer backup device if you've already got a bigger handheld. It's easy to toss into your bag and to whip out whenever you're stuck in traffic or if you're commuting, etc. Or if you're feeling nostalgic and you want to share your love for retro games with your kids, this will be an awesome little starter device for them. Alright guys, that's a wrap for today's look at the Pixel 2. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you feeling this tiny retro machine? Smash the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more handheld goodness, and until next time everyone, keep those pixels alive. Take care.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.